The West Philippine Sea is a flashpoint, a region where the calm surface of the ocean hides deep undercurrents of tension and rivalry. Here, the boundaries of nations are tested daily, and the stakes could not be higher. Its waters are tense with the ever-present threat of confrontation, as rival ships maneuver in a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. On July 29, 2025, as the sun rises, Filipino fishing boats venture out into these contested waters, driven by the need to provide for their families despite the risks. But they are not alone. Shadowed by imposing Chinese Coast Guard vessels, their every move is watched, their presence challenged. These patrols are not for safety, they're unmistakable shows of force, reminders of China's sweeping claims over nearly the entire sea, and warnings to all who dare to contest them. Every radio crackle could mean trouble. Every day, the risk of incident grows. For the Filipino crews, vigilance is a way of life, and anxiety is a constant companion. The Philippines' access to its own exclusive economic zone is challenged, and the stakes are high. Freedom of navigation, the rule of law, and Asia's balance of power all hang in the balance. The 2016 Hague ruling invalidated China's 9-dash line, declaring it baseless under international law. Yet on the water, China ignores it, building artificial islands, expanding its military presence, and fortifying its grip on the region. The Philippines, outgunned and outnumbered, seeks allies who value a rules-based order and are willing to stand up for international norms. Enter Japan, a nation with its own maritime disputes and a deep interest in regional stability. Japan's involvement signals a broader coalition forming in response to China's assertiveness. Japan's support is tangible: new ships, advanced technology, and training for Filipino sailors, all aimed at strengthening the Philippines' ability to defend its waters. This partnership brings not just equipment, but a boost in confidence for the Philippine Navy and Coast Guard, who now feel less alone in their struggle. This is no longer a two-sided standoff, it's a complex geopolitical chess game, with multiple nations maneuvering for influence and security in the region. The world is watching as the West Philippine Sea becomes a test of international resolve, a stage where the principles of sovereignty and cooperation are put to the ultimate test. The outcome here will shape the future of the Indo-Pacific, affecting global trade, security alliances, and the daily lives of millions who depend on these waters. For the fishermen, it's about survival. Each catch is a lifeline, and every journey is a risk they must take to feed their families. For the region, it's about sovereignty and security, about the right to determine one's own future without intimidation or coercion. The next move could change everything. In this high-stakes contest, every decision, every alliance, and every act of defiance will echo far beyond these waters. At the heart of the conflict lies the Philippines, a nation of over 7,000 islands, whose destiny is deeply intertwined with the surrounding waters. For generations, its people have relied on the sea for food, livelihood, and connection to the world. Today, the ocean is not just a source of sustenance, but a battleground for sovereignty and survival. The Philippines' exclusive economic zone, recognized by international law, is under constant threat from outside forces, making every patrol a tense act of defense. China, claiming nearly the entire South China Sea, deploys its Navy and Coast Guard to assert sweeping control, often overlapping with the Philippines' internationally recognized rights and pushing boundaries further each year. For Beijing, these waters are not only vital for national security and economic ambition, but also for projecting power across Asia and beyond. Meanwhile, Japan, a major maritime power and steadfast U.S. ally, depends heavily on these sea lanes for the flow of trade, energy, and resources that fuel its economy. With its own territorial disputes with China, Tokyo views the West Philippine Sea as a critical frontline for upholding regional order and protecting its interests. Together, these three nations form a strategic triangle. The Philippines stands firm to defend its rights, China pushes relentlessly for dominance, and Japan steps in as a crucial partner, strengthening alliances and supporting regional stability through joint exercises and diplomacy. Their complex interactions are now shaping the Indo-Pacific's evolving security architecture, drawing in other global powers and raising the stakes for all. The choices these nations make today will determine whether the region moves toward lasting peace and cooperation, or slides into greater tension and conflict. In this high-stakes contest, the future of the Indo-Pacific hangs in the balance, and the world is watching. China's campaign in the West Philippine Sea is relentless, gray zone tactics that stop just short of war. Swarms of Coast Guard and militia vessels block Filipino boats, harass fishermen, and obstruct resupply missions. Artificial islands become military outposts, shifting the balance of power deep inside the Philippines' exclusive zone. The environmental toll is severe, reefs destroyed, fisheries depleted. For the Philippines, this is an existential threat: billions lost, sovereignty eroded, dignity challenged. China's goal: to make resistance seem futile, to force Manila's hand without firing a shot. The psychological pressure is immense, testing the limits of Philippine endurance and faith in international law. The world is watching to see if law or force will prevail. Japan's support for the Philippines is decisive and growing stronger with each passing year. Modern patrol vessels and advanced radar systems now bolster Philippine defenses, thanks to Tokyo's crucial aid and commitment. Joint military exercises with Japan and the US build vital skills and send a powerful message of unity. A new reciprocal access agreement will allow more frequent, larger-scale cooperation between the two nations. This partnership is no longer symbolic, it's a realignment of regional security in Asia. Japan's strategy is clear: empower the Philippines to defend its rights and uphold a rules-based order. Together, they're actively reshaping the balance in the West Philippine Sea region. Official statements from all sides reveal a deep and growing divide over the contested waters. Each nation's words are carefully chosen, but the underlying tensions are unmistakable, echoing through every press conference and diplomatic exchange. The Philippines, under President Marcos Jr., stands resolute. "We will not yield," he declares, reaffirming the country's commitment to defending its maritime rights. The government's stance is clear: sovereignty and national dignity are non-negotiable, and the Filipino people expect nothing less. The 2016 arbitral ruling serves as the Philippines' legal anchor, a foundation for its claims in the West Philippine Sea. This landmark decision by an international tribunal is cited repeatedly, reinforcing Manila's position in every diplomatic forum. Manila meticulously documents and publicizes every Chinese incursion, using evidence to rally international support and keep the world's attention focused on the ongoing dispute. Each incident is catalogued, each violation reported. China, meanwhile, dismisses the ruling outright, insisting on what it calls indisputable sovereignty. Beijing frames its actions as legitimate law enforcement, portraying itself as the rightful guardian of these waters. Beijing accuses Manila of provocation, projecting its narrative to the world through state media and diplomatic channels. The Chinese government asserts that it is merely protecting its territory from foreign interference. Japan, though not a direct claimant, champions the principles of international law and freedom of navigation. Tokyo's leaders emphasize the importance of a rules-based order in the region, aligning themselves with Manila's call for respect of legal norms. After each maritime incident, Tokyo voices concern, urging restraint and dialogue. At the same time, Japan strengthens security ties with Manila, providing both diplomatic and material support to bolster the Philippines' maritime capabilities. Actions speak as loudly as words. The Philippines continues to resupply its outposts, determined to maintain its presence. China blocks these missions, escalating confrontations. Japan delivers new assets and diplomatic backing, reinforcing its commitment to regional stability. The gap between these official positions is vast, and the standoff at sea grows ever more tense. Each encounter raises the stakes, with the risk of miscalculation looming large. The world watches and waits, hoping for a diplomatic breakthrough but fearing a sudden flashpoint that could ignite a wider conflict in these contested waters. Tensions have erupted into real confrontations. At Ayungin Shoal, Chinese ships block and blast Philippine supply boats with water cannons, injuring crew and sparking global outrage. Near Scarborough Shoal, Filipino fishermen are chased off by Chinese vessels, denied access to traditional grounds. Each incident is met with swift Japanese support, statements, meetings, and joint naval exercises. These are not isolated events, they're part of a pattern of escalation. Every clash tests resolve, China pushes, the Philippines resists, and Japan stands by its partner. The risk of miscalculation grows, threatening to draw in the wider world. The Japan-Philippines partnership is a model for regional security. It shows that unity and adherence to law can counter coercion. Their cooperation inspires other Southeast Asian nations facing similar threats. By building capacity and trust, they create a more resilient Indo-Pacific. The stakes are global, trillions in trade, the principle of freedom of navigation, and the future of international order. The showdown in the West Philippine Sea is a test of whether law or force will shape the 21st century. The courage and cooperation on display today will define the world we inherit.